Hey, welcome to another episode of Year of the Wager. I'm Two Commas. Thanks for tuning in to episode number 4. Gonna talk about a lot in today's video. I played in the $1,500 RAZZ Tournament at the WSOP. But before we get into that and some of the cash games that I played, we have a little bit of housekeeping to do because I messed up the math on my Year of the Wager ending balance in the last episode. That's probably one of the reasons why I'm not winning at poker, because you got to be good at math. The balance should have been $8,557, but I also forgot to mention that I did win a last longer with my man Henry Park in the Badoogie tournament for $100. So that brings the new balance to $8,657. So that's what we're starting off this episode with. Hopefully you'll enjoy some of the shenanigans that take place in this episode. And I will see you on the other side, and hopefully I've won. So I'm staying at the Resorts World, at least for a couple of days during the WSOP, because I do tend to bounce around from resort to resort. I do like staying there though, because they do have one of the better poker rooms in the city, and they often offer the mixed games that I like to play. The resort also has some really nice rooms as well as some great artwork, but the artwork does not stand up to the donuts that are at Suns Out, Buns Out. I really love getting those. So next time you find yourself in the casino, make sure to check out Suns Out, Buns Out and get yourself a breakfast sandwich. But enough about food, let's get into the hands. Okay, so we are going to dive right into the hand that is the most important hand of the RAZZ tournament, and that is the one that actually knocked me out. I started with ace deuce in the hole and a 3-up, and my opponent started with a deuce showing. So obviously I'm going to raise the pot, and my opponent called, and we've got 4,500 roughly in the pot. On 4th Street, I catch a 4, which gives me 4 to the wheel. And my opponent catches an ace. So unless he also has 3-4 in the hole, I should be ahead. He acts first, so he obviously bets, and I raise, which I think is a no-brainer. There's about 8,500 in the pot. I catch a 9 on 5th Street, and he catches a 3, which is definitely a scary card, but at this point, I am pretty much priced in. He again bets, and I raise, and he calls. On 6th Street, I catch the magic 6, but my opponent catches a 5. So if he has a 4 in the hole, then I'm obviously dead. But right now, I've got the number 2 hand in RAZZ, 6-4-3, deuce ace. I'm feeling good about the situation. He bets. I just call though. And then on the river, I catch a 3, which is irrelevant. He catches a 9, which I'm also assuming is irrelevant. He leads out with a bet. I raise because it's my last remaining chips in front of me. So I'm all in, and I flip over ace 2, 3, 4, 6 for the number 2 hand in RAZZ. And of course, he turns over ace 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're not supposed to really lose that many times in RAZZ when you have the number 2 hand. What's crazy is the hand right before this, I also lost with a 6. Those, I guess, are just the breaks, as Curtis Blow would say. And I had to pick up my belongings and find something else to do with my time, since I just lost $1,500 in the RAZZ tournament. And the only way I'm going to feel better about myself is if I head over to the cash tables and try to win some money playing 20/40 mixed cash games at the WSOP. I make my way over to the WSOP cash game area, and as usual, there is a 20/40 mixed game going on, which is one of the cash games I prefer to play. The first game we're playing is Archie. If you don't know how to play Archie, it is a 5-card triple draw game where the best low hand and best high hand split the pot. So the very first hand I am dealt 10-10 deuce brick, and there are 2 other players in the hand with me. If you don't know WSOP cash games, they tend to be quite loose. I raise it up, and both players call me, and they are drawing 2 cards each, and I'm drawing 1 card. On the first draw, it's bingo bongo, and I hit the 10, giving me a full house. I don't have to wait at all. And so you know what that means. It means I'm going to be taking down at least half the pot, and I cannot wait to get more chips in. The opponent actually leads out with a bet. Villain number 2 actually calls, and I decide to raise it on up, and both opponents call me. They're both drawing 1, and I'm obviously standing pat. After the draw, they check to me. I lead out for a bet, and both opponents call. On the third draw, they're both still taking 1 card, and I am obviously still pat. When it gets to the betting action after the third draw, I lead out for a bet, and I get raised. What in the world can I be getting raised with? Maybe he made his low hand. The second opponent actually folds. So I go ahead and raise it back up again because I've got a full house. In case he has a worse high hand, I want to be able to scoop a large pot. He raises again, and so now my red alert antennas are up, and I decide to just call. And of course, in Archie, he turns over a full house, kings over aces, which beats my full house of 10s over 2s, and I am in disbelief. It's hard to make a full house in Archie. I thought I was golden, especially since I figured one, if not both of the individuals were going for the low hand, and to not get any of the pot and see over $500 head to my opponent on the very first hand that I play when I made a full house is just flabbergasting. Now I have to come up with a plan of attack to win my money back because I can't be down $500 in cash games and $1,500 from the RAZZ tournament. This is not going well so far, and I got to turn it around. All right, moving on to the next hand in the 2040 mixed game. Stud 8 or better. I am dealt pocket aces in the hole with a jack up, and my opponent is showing an ace up. Obviously, we are both raising and calling in this pot. There's about $110 when we go to 4th Street when I get a queen and my opponent gets a 3. He leads out for a bet and I call, and that brings us 5th Street where I get another jack, which gives me aces up, and he gets a 5, which is definitely a scary card because he could have the wheel, but I'm not too worried about it now. He bets and I call, about $150 in the pot. And we get to 6th Street where I get another queen and he gets a 9. He bets and I call again. Now I've got a pair of aces, a pair of jacks, and a pair of queens. I might be losing to a straight or the wheel right now, but I can catch the last ace, another queen, or another jack to make a full house. So I'm still in it, and the river is a king in the hole to me. And what I find out is it's a 10 in the hole to him. He bets again and I call, and of course he turns over ace 2, 3, 4, 5 for the wheel, and I've made 3 pair, which is no good. He scoops the pot and I lose another big one, about $390, $400, and we are going in the wrong direction in this 2040 cash game, and I need to get it turned around. So the next hand in the mix that's worth mentioning after I bide my time for about another hour, when we are back on Archie, I am dealt a 10 of diamonds, 8 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds, brick in my hand. I've got 2 opponents. I've got a potential for a straight flush, and so I'm gonna go with it. I raise it up and both my opponents call. There's about $150 in the pot. I'm drawing 2, as are both of my opponents. On the first draw, I make the 9 of diamonds, and I am led into by my first opponent who bets. The second opponent calls, and I raise since now I only need 1 diamond with 2 draws left to make my flush, and I can still make a straight flush. So I get called by both opponents. There's about $280 in the pot. The opponent that took the lead in betting decides to draw 1. My other opponent draws 2, and I decide to draw 1 as well. I break the draw, but that's not going to stop me because I decide to lead out in bet after it's checked to me by both of my opponents. They both call. There's $400 in the pot. And on the third draw, I do in fact hit my flush with the 4 of diamonds. It's not the straight flush and it's not the highest flush, but you got to feel good in Archie that you've probably got the best high hand. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And should be at least splitting the pot. So villain number 1 bets into me, which I'm just assuming maybe he made his low, and villain 2 decides to fold. I raise just in case there's an opportunity to scoop, and I get called. And the good news is he turns over 3 kings, an ace, and a 5, which is no good for 3 of a kind against my flush, and I scoop a pot over $500. We're still down for the day, and I need another big hand in order to get back on top and book a win. So let's dial up another hand of Archie in this 2040 mix game. There are once again going to be 3 opponents in the hand with me. I am dealt the 3 of clubs, 4 of clubs, deuce of hearts, brick, brick. And so I've got a good shot at the wheel and at least a low. So when it is bet into me by one of my opponents, I decide to raise. Everyone calls. And we are going to go to the first draw with everyone drawing 2 cards. I am dealt the 6 of hearts, which takes away the opportunity for the wheel, but I still have a shot at a straight and a low. So I decide to lead out for a bet when it is checked to me, and I get called by both opponents. We don't have to wait very long to hit the card we need because we get the 5 of diamonds on the second draw. Gotta love it when you don't have to sweat it out to the third draw. It is checked to me. I lead out for a bet and both opponents call, which is great. And the pot has about $330 in it. Both opponents are drawing 1 and I'm pat on the third draw. And I decide to lead out for a bet. One of my opponents folds, but the other calls, putting $410 in the pot. I turn over the straight and they muck it without showing their cards. So another hand goes my way, and that gets me in positive territory for the day. Yo, what's going on? Getting that year to wager Vegas walk on a little bit later today. Was up playing cash games late last night. Got knocked out of the RAZZ Tournament. 2 hands in a row. I made a 6 and lost to the wheel and to a better 6 for my tournament life. I don't know, seems weird, but that's what happened. Immediately went over to play 2040 mix over at the WSOP. Very first hand I play of Archie. On my first draw, I make 10s full of deuces. Gotta be good for half the pot, right? First draw, I'm pat. I'm 3 betting the entire way while everyone else is drawing 2. Yeah, no, I don't get half the pot. I lose on the third draw to kings full of aces. I don't know what's going on, but that stuck me on the very first hand. And I had to play for the next 3 hours to battle back and book a profit. So, did not win my tournament buy-in back, but feels good to finally get a cash game profit. Keep this year to wager thing going. All right. So clearly things didn't go as planned in this session of Year of the Wager. It was a long series of events that unfolded on the negative side for me. So I didn't film all of the cash sessions. So to catch you up on that, I had a losing session and 2-5 hold'em at Resorts World. Only lost $178, not that big a deal. But then I went on to lose $485 in 4-8 mix which is pretty hard to do at that stakes, especially because I think I play mixed games pretty well, but they've added so many in that I'm not that good at all of them, I guess. Then I lost the RAZZ Tournament for $1,500, and I lost another Last Longer for $100 before I finally won $185 in the 2040 mix at the WSOP. So that brings my new ballots on Year of the Wager to $6,579, which, as you recall, I started off with a bankroll of $10,000, so we are negative on the Year of the Wager by a little over $3,000. So we need to turn it around in order to keep this going. So hopefully you liked this video. If you did, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, sign up for those alerts. It helps the channel out and lets me know that I should keep making this content as I prepare for the 2024 Year of the Wager. So please hit those buttons for me, and let's tune in next episode to see if I can turn it around. Thank you.